come and see. It should never be free. This is a conversation I keep having with Burak. I think he's doing a lot more free than he should, because Startup Istanbul is one of the largest platforms startups can get into when they're in this part of the world, in Eurasia, Middle East, North Africa, Far East, between the oceans, except China. We got so many people from India, so many people even from Latin America. We have a lot of people. We have a lot of people applying from US as well. And maybe those of you who don't know what Startup Istanbul does, before COVID, Startup Istanbul had two of the largest conferences in this part of the world, Startup Istanbul and Startup Turkey. The winners of those competitions have raised, I think, probably more than $50 to $70 million so far. We had been seeing a lot of exits in the last 5-6 years, that startups that came from Startup Istanbul to the acceleration program. And it's been really interesting to see. I've been involved with Startup Istanbul and Startup Turkey for the last 7-8 years, been a while. And I've seen so many startups getting to finding investors, finding partners, working with each other, and having a really strong brand name from London, let's say, to Bangladesh or to India. So it's a pretty diverse group of people. As we can see, we have 51 people, and I'm guessing we have probably about 20 countries. I know you guys, all of you are Zoom fatigued. Probably this is not your first Zoom of the day. Definitely it's not my first or last Zoom of the day. So I will probably cut it really short on who I am, what do I do. My name is Ozan. I've been in the entrepreneurship ecosystem for over than 10 years. My background is in finance, so I did a little bit of investing. I'm an angel investor myself, but I've been working in Middle East and Silicon Valley to build accelerator programs, invest in companies that are doing technology, high tech, and also social technologies. Last year, I built the UNDP's Sustainable Development Goals Impact Accelerator program. Before that, I was almost right next door to Faruk Bey. Faruk. I keep losing. When I see a Thai, I keep saying Bey. It's an old Turkish tradition. So I work with
work street.
I know. Yeah. Rules of the work is quite different. So I actually worked right next door to Faruk Bey, which was building an impact social and technology accelerator program for Middle East Technical University in San Francisco. And Faruk, would you want to kind of give a short bio, who you are, how come did you get into this technopark business? I think that will be a good start to our conversation. Welcome.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Ozan, and thanks, Burak, for inviting me. It's the second round of our speech with Startup Turkey. I am Faruk. Originally, I am an industrial engineer. I am in business life and in high-tech sector almost 13 years. I graduated from Middle East Technical University in 2007. And I started in Metu Technopolis there as an expert.
Perfect.
Yeah, in 2007. And since that time, I'm in high-tech sector. Currently, I'm general manager of Bilkent CYBEPRARK. Together with that, I'm also the chairman of Turkish Technopark Association. And I'm also the board member of International Association of Science Parks, which is located in Spain. It's just, I think, enough for the beginning.
Perfect. So we have a lot of international startups who may not be familiar with what a technopark is, what a science park is, what an R&D center is. So can you just kind of briefly give us a framework of how these are working together and how universities are building these institutions to help founders?
Actually, there's some comment about that free thing. I totally agree with you about if something is free, people do not put the real value of it while using that free service. So I totally agree with you and Burak about that. Sometimes people should, paying something they really take care of that service. Because people are still writing about that. So I saw that.
No worries.
Yeah.
Burak and I will take care of the chat.
Okay. Actually, there's some different sayings about that concept. Technopark, Technocity, Science Park, Innovation Park. There's some little, differences about the way that are dealing with. For example, science parks that are more closer and dealing with more than innovation items. They are dealing with more scientific projects, and academicians are more, having more places there. For example, technoparks or technocities are closer to the industry than science parks. There are very little differences, but most common issue about those, all of them are triggered by the universities. If a park, an innovation district is triggered by the industry, it can be some kind of an innovation center or incubation center. That's some kind of a small beginning about the concept. In Turkey, we are using a highly different term about that: technology development zones, as we using the term zone,
like free trade zones,
industrial zones, like that. And in daily life, obviously, we are using the short term as technopark or technocity, in Turkish technokent. That's standing for city. Yeah, that's the beginning for what this is.
Perfect. So as Bilkent, for those of you who don't know where Bilkent is, it's in Ankara, in the capital of Turkey, in the middle of Turkey. It's I think the first private university in Turkey who has been leading this privatization part of education, higher education.
Yeah,
and has great engineers, great business departments. I think you guys don't have a medicine department. No. Other than that, you have all the others, including law, as far as I know. So it's a very large university body with lots of students. And just want to ask, like, how difficult it is for a student to become an entrepreneur and to join a technopark and build a company in technopark in Turkey. Is that allowed? Can foreign students do that as well? If they come here to study for a master's degree, can they also build their companies in the technopark?
Yeah, if they can run a businessman item together with a student item, surely they can do this, obviously.
Nice.
In CYBERPARK, we have 33 companies that are owned by students.
Perfect.
Even at undergrad level, students are founding their companies here. And we have many success stories among those students.
Perfect.
So, and there is Turkish trade law, which is, governing the actions about founding a company in Turkey. Mm-hmm. Trade law is also easy. You can set up your company. Obviously, there are some items that,
of course, security and regulations.
Better, but you can set up your company. But honestly speaking, I don't have much experience about any foreigners founding a company. But obviously, I can learn and help if somebody requests. No problem on that.
I think the reason I ask this because I see a lot of the teams coming from neighborhood countries like Iraq and Iran and Bangladesh and Malaysia. And for them, I mean, Bangladesh and Malaysia are big markets in terms of number of people, but there are smaller populations, and they see Turkey as a good international market, actually, where we try to keep our startups go abroad for larger markets. They want to test Turkey first and then go. That's why that was the answer to the question.
It's a good point, actually. Independent of being a market, Turkey's in the last couple of years, Turkey started to be a global hub in that geographical area. It's very important.
I agree. So if one of the teams here decides to come to Bilkent CYBEPRARK, what kind of services are you providing to the startups? What can they expect from you?
Actually, technoparks have two main functions in the term of supporting entrepreneurs. One is the easy one, I guess. It's a facility management.
It was a facility management before COVID.
Obviously. Actually, you can define that as a business center. There are many business centers around the world, which is not related to technoparks. One main business lines of technopark is being a business center: security, cleaning, air conditioning, entrance, fighting with snow, gardening, the other stuff. When you are done with that, then you will have a good business center. The first service that's provided by technoparks is facility management side. On the other side, when you put what we call value-added services to that facility, then you are having the technoparks. So the main, and on the bottom line, in Turkey especially, there is some regulations which are supporting the companies in the technoparks at each levels. It's in the bottom line because it's at the same time it's supporting the facility and those services. And also it provides some grant and tax incentives for the companies. It's in the bottom line supporting all the actions in technoparks. When we come to those value-added services, it is, I can easily say that technoparks provide different services at different levels of entrepreneurs, different levels of companies. Info days, seminars, pre-incubation services, incubation services, summits, contests, mentorships, counseling sessions, customer meetings, investor meetings are just some examples of those services.
So one of the things startups are very interested in learning is, do the technoparks run accelerator programs in the sense that do they give cash, seed funds, or do they just provide facility management services? What are the programs that Technopark, CYBERPARK is providing to the startups at early stages?
In Turkey Technopark, obviously when we consider globally, yes, Technoparks have that vision. But as of now, Turkey Technoparks do not have that vision. I think it's just 1 month ago, one of the Technoparks announced its own fund to fund startups, to make investment to startups.
No, I mean, except for Metu, which we were doing since 2017, we were investing in our own startups. Yeah. But there are not so many others. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not sure Metutech's fund is fully active or not, so I didn't call that. Yeah.
We made...
point. It has an angel network. It's currently running. I can't tell about that, but when it comes to a fund,
not
like
VC, many universities.
It's not active, honestly speaking. So it's just 1 month ago, a Technopark announced its own fund.
Perfect. That's
Apart
good.
from that, it's a starting point. Apart from that, so far, Technoparks prefer to make investor in other funds.
Becoming LPs in VC funds.
I was coming to that point. As far as I know, there's 30-something VCs in Turkey, and most of the technoparks are taking their place, are making their investments as LPs in those funds.
Yeah. And you announced recently about a $2.5 million investment in 2 different funds, right?
2.5 to one fund,
more or less
to another one. 3.5 in total.
Perfect. So,
but
why?
But we need to emphasize that at this point, technoparks are running accelerators, but those are not traditional accelerators which are ending with funding. Turkey accelerators especially ends with customers or ends with investors, but those investments are not coming from the institution that's running the accelerator. That's coming from the partners.
The one advantage I see that technoparks are able to provide to startups from different places is the new talent, access to good engineers, access to good business people. And do you see engineers that are graduating from Bilkent or in Ankara in general or in Turkey in general? Do you see an increasing tendency for them to build startups, or are they still wanting to go and build their or work for large companies?
Yeah, actually, especially during economical crisis, people are, more has, tendency to become entrepreneurs. And due to pandemic, because people are losing their jobs and they are thinking that, yeah, it's a good point to try the idea that I've been thinking that a couple of years. So during crisis times, people are, becoming more and more, entrepreneurial mindset, and it's increasing, I can say.
When I was living in San Francisco, we had a lot of startups that are built by Bilkent graduates, actually, or METÜ graduates, because we only invested in Turkish founders. And it's really important that they keep those connections with the university, and they hire people from recent graduates from Bilkent, or just recent people who are still working, so as interns. So there is a good connection between startups and the university side. Do you guys do any programs to facilitate that kind of connections between startups that graduated, founders that graduated from your universities and moved abroad? Do you have different matching systems? How do you connect those people?
Actually, we don't have a regular matching strategy, or we don't have a matching program, but we are trying to match that via our network. That's to say right now, yeah.
Yeah, because Bilkent has a lot of graduates all around the world.
Sure.
If this period this year is a complete mess with everybody, I got stuck at my place for the last 8 months. Usually I travel all around the world to give trainings and do managing accelerated programs, but I'm trying to do that sleeping in a different time zone and doing it for US. If you were to go back in the beginning of the year in January, and if I told you that you will not be able to host events, you will not be able to host people in your premises, actually you'll have to close all the technoparks for a long time. And if I ask you, what would you have done differently now?
I will get some shares from Zoom, actually, at the beginning of
yeah, that's smart. that's something I wish I had done as well, as me and a billion more people.
Actually, we are getting digitalized. So everything, are getting digitalized. So we are always telling about that. So I will do this.
So did you guys started using as a team running the Technopark? Did you guys start using new technologies? Are you testing new software? Are you testing new things?
Yeah, we are also going, running that digitalization thing in our Technopark. We have a regulation that we are running under. There are many bureaucratic items under that, so we are trying to have a paperless office in here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So it's really different.
Electronic document management systems, e-signature issues.
Yeah. Those are really important. So I think technoparks are changing because now there's less demand for office space, and there will be probably less demand going forward. How do startups change? What are the things that you think startups should be looking for as opportunities in this time of very significant and swift changes?
Yeah, during that time, some sectors, some products, some solutions that support digitalization, as I said, are currently, becoming more and more important. And also due to the pandemic, health solutions are becoming more important. So there are many things to talk under that. And I can say that educational solutions, digital applications, gaming, the first unicorn of
Yep.
Turkey, as created during the pandemic, and it's a game company because people are stuck at homes, they're getting bored, so they are looking for some enjoyment. So gaming is very important. While everything is going digital, cybersecurity is another trending topic. Home health solutions, gastronomical solutions. Those are trending topics, and entrepreneurs should observe those items and should some solutions on those.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of the startups also wonder if the world will go back to normal. Like, how are we going to travel, or how are we going to sit next to each other? Will we do events, etc.? So, as a majority of your revenue, Technopark's revenue in Turkey in general, and also in CYBERPARKs is not an odd example. Science parks also do the same. They rely on rent revenue most of the time.
Sure.
So in an era where rent revenue will be declining, what are the opportunities that you will be able to start building, for example, from Turkey? Is there a remote Technopark management system? Can you help startups find work and customers outside of Turkey, which is now easier because everybody is on a Zoom? How do you help startups think globally and build companies with an international mindset?
Yeah, it's a long discussion, but as to start, it will not be like that. One day you will wake up and you will see that zero cases about pandemic. Everything was was like it will be like at the beginning of this year. It will not be like that, obviously.
I agree.
That it will be long time to get to that, get back to that normal. But when we consider that Technopark side, Technoparks are also learning the portion. I'm talking about the income of Technopark. The portion coming from the rents is decreasing, but the portion coming from the services, those value-added services, is increasing. Obviously, there's some balance in between those two items, and people, Technoparks actually, the people in Technoparks will be looking on the other items or the other terms of income items when if there's a decrease in the rent side. But honestly speaking, I don't believe there will be a decrease on the rental side, because entrepreneurship is a trending topic. And more people are founding their companies, and they're trying to get places in Technoparks. And there's a terminology that I'm currently working, a virtual Technopark concept, which is fully based on the services that's to be provided. So everything is changing. Obviously, Technoparks are also changing on the way that I mentioned.
I mean, one of the good examples that I see is I have my company in Estonia. I have an address in an Estonian Technopark, which I'm not going to go, probably not anytime soon at least. It's cold and it's far, but I still have a space. So I think one of the ways the Technoparks in Turkey and Turkey in general, what they can look for is attracting new talent, attracting startups, and using the vacant spaces in those Technoparks. I kind of don't agree that Technoparks will not lose rent revenue, because most of the rent revenue will depend on companies growing. And if my company was in Technopark, and if I had to keep everybody working from home, I would give the rent to them. I would share the rent to them to cover their own expenses, and I'll have everybody work from home.
But it's not be like that. Those people should get somewhere.
Yeah, this is somewhere. This is the Zoom.
No. In Turkey, it's not like that.
So that's the challenge.
People like to get together.
I know. So that's the challenge I'm giving you.
The social
Turkish
side.
Startups,
we are always omitting that social side.
I agree.
Newcomers should get together with the others, and they know each other. They should speak in person. At Zoom, we are only the two talking, the other are listening.
I know,
but the rooms, the other stuff, it's difficult.
I agree, it's completely difficult. But my challenge is the startups in Turkey and elsewhere need to know how to work with remote people, anyways.
Sure.
So I think the next generation startups will not be built with people who have met each other every day. They have to get together, and we have to invent new technologies to make people work together, not just this two-way communication. I completely agree on that.
Yeah.
But I also disagree that people will not be able to work unless they met, because that's not the world we will be living in going forward.
It's culture.
That is what we need to change as well in the Turkish startups.
We will get used to it, but it's not tomorrow.
I'm trying
to say that.
It takes a long time for culture to change. And it's a barrier for startups as well. I completely agree. But this is a big opportunity for Turkish startups to change that culture, to start working with people who are not living in Turkey, who they will not be meeting anytime soon, because that's the part of the global mindset. That's how you build a global company.
Yeah.
I don't agree that I agree that I think 5 Turks sitting in one room or 5 Indians sitting in one room cannot build a global company. They have to have different cultures inside that corporation, inside that startup, need to learn how to work together, and then they have a better mindset. But it's a longer topic, and I don't want to take too much of the time from the founders' questions. Maybe one last question is, what will technoparks and technology startups look like in the next 5 years? How do you see the universities playing a role in helping these up?
Actually, are you asking that for Turkey or for global?
I mean, we can start from Turkey and go abroad if you might.
Yeah, in Turkey, as per our regulation, we need to mention about that. All technoparks are affiliated to at least one university.
Mm-hmm.
So they are acting, apart from being technoparks, they are acting as science parks.
Yes.
More scientific companies, and academicians, patents that are sitting in the tables are coming there. They are trying to commercialize that. Technoparks, current technopark, or the first 15 years of technoparks in Turkey was like that. Affiliated to one university. University is everything for that. Academy is, it's some kind of a garden of the universities, and
absolutely,
it's more scientific. But the last for the last 4 or 5 years, it started changing. In the last couple of years, in the technoparks that are newly founding, the shares of the universities are becoming less and less. They turn their faces to the industry. It's changing, as I said. It's currently changing. They are trying to get, away of that university focus. They are more trying to get to have industrial focus. So it's more, it's closer to that commercial side. It's important.
Absolutely.
So I can say that technoparks are becoming more industrial and more, how can I say, commercialization focus that they are having. Yeah.
I agree. And I think that's a valuable shift, because
sure,
I don't know if Bilkent is open for the education or have completely shifted to online. But last year, a lot of universities struggled when students had to go and study online. This year, that still continues. And probably by the beginning of this 2021, we'll still have these problems of should we open the universities or not. So as universities need to build more virtual capacity, probably not many students will be going back and forth in the university. And that has a significant impact in how the technoparks and science parks work.
Can you repeat the final side?
So if the universities are not able to welcome students inside the universities because of the COVID, how can you get that student technology research angle in technoparks?
Actually, Technopark's attitude is coming with all the other attitudes, like that online things. We are having that current activity online, for example. When pandemic started, before pandemic, we were running counseling sessions or mentorship programs in person, face to face, in this room, for example. But we shifted all these programs online, and we are trying to touch entrepreneurs online. It's in parallel with the university's attitude towards students. So our attitude is also the same. We are putting all the programs online, and we are still touching entrepreneurs or candidate entrepreneurs. Anybody can right now send an email to me or find me in the internet. My contact information is written everywhere. Can contact me. Tomorrow morning we can set up a mentorship session online, and we can start to listen those people's business ideas, and we can start helping them. No problem on that.
So if you don't mind, if you can write your email on the chat. There are a lot of questions that are coming from how they will be able to build companies in Bilkent CYBERPARK, how CYBERPARK is useful to startups. I mean, we already discussed that part.
I found my email. Yeah.
Perfect. Great. So guys, this is a good opportunity for you to email Faruk about more detailed questions. And one of the things that is important also in the Turkish and emerging economies, not only in Turkey, is to be able to help the startups get to international customers. How does CYBERPARK look into that concept? Like, do you have programs that are focusing on taking the startups to international markets? Do you have international mentors? How does that work currently in the CYBERPARK?
Yeah, we have many international programs. I can say that in two ways. We are accepting, companies abroad to our programs in Turkey. In the reverse, we are taking our companies, our entrepreneurs in Turkey abroad. Both directions are working. Actually, internationalization is, one of the most important issues. We are joining fairs with our entrepreneurs. We are organizing accelerators, as I've said. We are organizing trade delegation to some companies, or we are organizing business forums at some countries. So there are many programs that welcomes the international entrepreneurs as well. I can talk about some of those now, or
yeah, please.
The list of all the programs can be found in our website. For example, we have programs to USA, to Silicon Valley, or to Estonia to find investments. Our programs are highly customized. Those are not traditional general programs. We are customizing our programs. For example, as I said, to Silicon Valley or to Estonia, we are not going to find customers. We are going there to find investors for our entrepreneurs. For example, for UK, we have accelerators or trade delegations to UK or to Germany. Those are big markets. We are going there, to use those, countries as a hub to jump over some other places. United Arab Emirates, again in this group. Together with that, Malaysia, Georgia, Azerbaijan, those are the countries that we have many good relationships. They like us, they like our company. So those are good markets for our companies. So I mentioned about two different, sectors or classification of country groups. Those are customized programs, and any company can join and welcome for those programs. And as I said in our website, I'm currently writing down, there will be a list of the programs that anybody can join.
Perfect. So that's a good opportunity for startups. A few of the questions, maybe we're getting closer to our end,
Yeah.
So we have a question from John. It's easy. So the startups that, what's the average time the startups are spending in Cyberpark or in general in technoparks, since you're also on the board of the technoparks?
Yeah, there isn't an upper limit for the total duration of total time for the technopark, but there's an upper limit for incubation center. As per our law, it's 3 years for our incubation center. After the incubation, obviously the company can join as long as it has an R&D project. The company can join in the technopark, but there's only a limit for incubation site. It's 3 years.
All right. So, and Faruk already wrote the CYBERPARK's website, so you guys can check out what are the programs you can join. If you are at very early idea stage, I would not recommend trying to get into a technopark, because at very, very early stage, without actually without a prototype, it's really difficult to differentiate yourselves against the competition. But in terms of sectors, every sector is possible as long as you have a research and development angle. Is that correct?
Yeah, for the entrepreneurs or candidate entrepreneurs that only has something in mind, directly entrance of Technopark is not a good point. We are directing those entrepreneurs, candidates, to our pre-incubation programs. In those programs, we are listening to business ideas of the entrepreneurs. We are writing some business plans, checking if that idea can convert into a company or not, making suggestions about that. And the final decision, obviously, is the entrepreneur's decision whether to set up a company or not. If he or she sets up a company, then it's welcome to our incubation center. We again try to help those companies.
Nice. Great. So I see that there are a lot of questions on, let me see.
Yeah, they can, after the program, if they have time, they can direct write to me. I myself can answer all of them.
All right, perfect. So maybe one last question.
Sure.
It's just hypothetical. We're almost at the end of the conversation anyways. If you were to build a startup now, if I came to you and said, Faruk, I want you to come and build a startup with me, what kind of startup would you build?
Oh, good point. Actually, I would like to deal with AI.
All right, doing AI in any sector specific?
Yeah. Honestly speaking, is getting some, that awareness and having that knowledge about AI and using that to, making some prediction about some attitudes of the company or the people, and it can be used anywhere. Honestly speaking, it's not a good elevator pitch, but AI,
it's a general idea.
Making some, prediction with AI is a good point. If somebody needs a suggestion, I can say that.
Perfect. I mean, I kind of agree as well, because unless you guys are doing something that's enabled by or not threatened by artificial intelligence, you may not need to use it yet. But if you guys are building something that's like that can easily be threatened by artificial intelligence and machine learning, which are two different things.
I'm working with an entrepreneur about making some predictions with AI about the success of Technopark companies. It's
good one.
Yeah. Next week we will start, working on the data and making predictions, and we will,
nice.
check about those. It will be a good point. So your question is very on time for me.
Nice. I mean, I can give you 2 resources. There was a company in Silicon Valley where I was helping out. They built an AI algorithm to predict who will invest in which company. Like, if your company is doing this and this, where could you get investments from? So that was a really nice service. And actually, my partner in my consultancy company, Belize, she wrote a thesis on the success estimation for Technopark entrepreneurs from Metu. So if you know her, I can make an introduction. She has a really great thesis on.
Yeah, you can see my contact information in the chat.
Absolutely. I'll take a look at that one.
Yeah, please.
So,
yeah, we can continue to discuss about it happily.
Perfect. So there are other questions that are mostly related to their startups, and maybe I can help them answer. How many UCs? What's the difference between successful and unsuccessful startups? Do you have a track record of unsuccessful startups that left Technopark, left CYBERPARK for any reason?
Yeah. Number of unsuccessful companies are quite low in CYBERPARK. I can say that. Yeah.
I know.
As far as I remember, 80% of our startups are still alive at the end of the third year. It's a very good number, very good percentage.
Yeah.
Because that's to say that 80% of them are still alive after that, that valley.
I mean, I think that's very biased in one way, because unless they have enough cash, they wouldn't be in a Technopark. So the success rate of startups in a Technopark is not representative of the general success rate of startups, because it's much, much lower.
Obviously, yeah.
But it's very happy.
Some of them are about those value-added services. We are getting them together with customers.
Absolutely.
We are selling to customers. Apart from that, before accepting a company, we are making an election.
Exactly.
Another point.
Yeah.
If a company is not eligible, we are telling the reasons why it's not eligible.
Yeah.
We are telling why we think that idea will fail. We are telling, we are giving some homeworks to talk about
mentorship.
Yeah, we are providing mentorship, so it increased that
chances.
Percentage. Yeah.
And I think still a remarkable rate that 80% of the startups, or some of them are graduating from being a startup to a large company now. Most of them are institutionalized, have more than 20 people-ish. So it's really important to be able to get the support of Technoparks, no matter where you are. And to me, the key difference between a failed startup and a successful startup, a lot of people will not understand this quite well, but it's mostly luck. But luck that comes with hard work. You go out and you read all these success stories of Silicon Valley. You go out and read the success stories in Airbnb, for example. And then when you go and look into their early stages, nobody believed in Airbnb. Even the most successful investors in the Valley did not invest in Airbnb when they were asked to invest. So, and then now they're becoming a multi-billion-dollar company. So that's luck concept is very important in the ideas in the first 3 years of a startup. How can you build luck? That's tough, but you work hard and you use networks. And I think places like Technoparks give that kind of attachment, give that kind of network. So that is probably why the startups in Technopark are a little bit more luckier to find customers, to find investors, and to find the right people.
You cannot create luck from zero, but you can obviously increase that luck.
Exactly.
By working.
So I hope this conversation increased the chances of our startups who are listening at the moment. They already have a direct contact to one of the largest technoparks in Turkey, the GM of one of the largest technoparks in Turkey. So that's one really good takeaway from the session. And I think, at least on my end, I got no more questions. So Burak, do you guys have any questions? Do you want to cover any logistical issues with the rest of the accelerator program?
Ozan and Faruk, thank you very much for this nice conversation. I was listening it was wonderful. And I also take notes also from your fireside chat. Thank you very much. I mean, for the acceleration program, we will do another session after this fireside chat. So I will be meeting with our startups afterwards. And thank you very much for all of the participants. There are lots of questions. I tried to answer them as well. But Faruk's email is in the chat box, and their also website is cyberpark.com.tr. It's also on the chat box. If you wanted to ask about the CYBERPARK and Bilkent Technopark, you can ask them. If you want to have any questions about the mentorship sessions, Startup Istanbul, you can ask them as well, but we will be very happy to answer them. I tried to answer some of the questions on the question and answer session. So if you are interested in, there are some startups who are living in Turkey immigrants. So I think they have specific questions for CYBERPARK, I think, and they will probably ask you after the call. So thank you very much. These valuable feedbacks, and for the last couple of days, please stay safe and healthy. And stay at
Good to meet Faruk.
Yeah, Ozan, nice meeting you. Anybody can answer, can ask any question, not only about CYBERPARK, but also the ecosystem in Turkey. I can happily answer.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for
again.
You are welcome. My pleasure. Yeah. Bye-bye.